Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for watching this video. Welcome to XGBoost for machine learning. Today we are going to learn one of the key machine learning model, that is XGBoost. Um, XGBoost is an optimized distributed gradient boosting library. It's mainly designed, to be highly efficient, flexible, and portable. So, a quick introduction about myself. I am Ravi Dhoni. I am having more than 15 years of industry experience, in several areas, including but not limited to machine learning and data science. My most of the experience with the telecom industry, but last couple of years I'm working in one of the MNC as an analytics product manager. Great. So today, we'll learn about XGBoost. So, as this is one of the key ML model, hence I recommend is that we'll start with a quick introduction about this model, quick background, then followed by there will be series of videos where I can walk through about XGBoost, mainly for regression, then time series, then binary classification, or it can be multi-class classification. So I will go through detailed Git walkthrough as well, where I can show you Jupyter Notebook with standard data set, how it can be implemented this model, right? Then also one of the important things about data scientist key daily activities will be about working closely with data engineering, is about and the domain expert, mainly to finalize the features which are needed for this XGBoost, then the hyperparameters which are needed for this use case, then followed by how can we tune the hyperparameters to get the best the precision results for this this model, right? So these all things we will discuss one by one with the Jupyter code as an example, right? So with respect to that, we're going to quickly give a quick background that what exactly this model is about. So XGBoost stands for extreme gradient boosting, right? So this video is about consider assuming that the listener will be having basic knowledge about data, basic knowledge about machine learning, and basic knowledge about the classification, regression, or what kind of a problem are we solving, and what kind of a machine learning we are talking, right? So with respect to that, there's one of the key algorithm which used to solve the problems in the real world, right? So back to XGBoost definition is it stands for extreme gradient boosting, where the term gradient boosting originates from one of the paper greedy function approximation, Friedman, which uh, published. So you can Google for more details about this. But one more the analogy to give how this is started, right? So with respect to that, in 1785, French mathematician who had published an article, so that name with I quote, essay on the application of analysis to the probability of decision rendered by plurality of votes, right? So of course it was in French, but the translated one what I right. So his idea was mainly the decision not just based on just single individual, but it should be with the viewpoints or opinions should be collected with several individuals, and based on that the decision can be made, right? So this is one of the key concept known as wisdom of the crowd, right? So I hope we are have a basic understanding about this terminology. For more details I recommend go through Google as well. So to understanding the basic concept, how can we take a decision based on multiple opinions, right? So with respect to that, let's start with one of the key example what day-to-day activities will follow, right? So in the corporate world, so now email spamming, it's one of the basic feature of in Outlook or in iOS. But it is mainly based on the defined rules. We can able to categorize the email groups, right? So it's for example, if particular email group, if it is coming, say for example, if I am working for a client like Tesla. So Tesla employees whoever sending the email, so I want to write a rule to create a group category called Tesla, right? So in that one, we can able to automatically all the emails which we receive from that at the rate of tesla.com, all the emails will be categorized into that group. The same time, if anything with spamming, say for example, if somebody are related to the credit cards, finance, share the pins or something which are not day-to-day activities of his job, then those are categorized as a spam, and it will go to the spam folder as well. So we can write couple of rules, so based on that we can able to identify whether these are the actual emails or the spamming, right? So that is kind of a basic theory which we follow, but these rules are not powerful enough individually. So it means, so if you take one rule, it applies to that, but it not applies to the other category of the things, right? So with respect to that, what it is basically is saying that we call of them a weak learner. What is that? So individual one it is considered which we are learning, so that is called weak learner. So based on this, collectively, weak learners, inputs, we can able to, you know, uh, predict the output by using these multiple weak learners as a collectively are the combined view, right? So this is one of the approach which we are expecting to follow. So before that, before understanding XGBoost, so I think we should also, I wanted to recap about the basic terminology in machine learning. So I will not go through in detail about all the features, but quickly to recap about before we understand XGBoost, so I think at least I feel that we as a data scientist we should know these things. So one, boosting, second is about ADA boosting, then gradient boosting, then bagging, then followed by decision tree, random forest. These are all things which are related to the classification, right? So whether classification or the regression, but these are the basic things, parameters which we should know before understanding XGBoost, right? So to start with, the boosting. So boosting to consider as a weak learner, right? So if we say so a weak learner is basically you learn something from particular task, right? So for example, if we are taking example of tossing a coin, right? So if we toss a coin, basically it will be head or tail. So it means 50%, right? So by applying this weak learner or algorithm one, so we can expect the result more than 50% accurate. So that is a weak learner. Then what is boosting? So boosting is basically a method that combines these all weak learners. So multiple weak learners, so combining them and form a more accurate learner, so-called example classifier, right? So here I try to put pictorial view, quickly how can we make things. If you take an example here, I wanted to give a I want to take a latest example, like the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. So in that one, we all know that the volleyball women's volleyball final. So in that one, it was Brazil versus USA, right? So if for the understanding the boosting, so let's say, like the square boxes will be Brazil, and the circles which represents USA, right? So now, as a weak learner, I want to start with, like I want to find a way rules to segregate between the team is mixed now. So based on shape of that, like square or thing, so I want to separate them out from the USA. So that is differentiation between squares and the circles, right? So here you can see, to start with, like if I line classifier here, then two of the Brazil players, which are you can see in the green box. Then if I apply here, then this is one of the way about weak learner. If I take a line in this one, then this is going to be one of the weak learner. So I think for better highlighting, I will just take a pen. I hope it should be okay. So what is boosting is about? So I learned one weak learner, right? You can see here, then two here, then three here. So by combining these three, what will be the best possible way? So the best possible way is expected. So you can see here. So this is the ideal, expected output, right? So to combining this, and we are learning from them, and we are able to predict the best prediction for this example, right? So this is like quick positioning view about boosting. So then in boosting, basically what is we followed three steps mainly. So if you see here, step one is all about giving a view on step one is about the initial weak learner is trained on the data, right? So first we'll start with, like whatever you are available, let's start with learning that. Then we'll identify, like predicted learners. Then based on that, you can able to identify the data points. Then the next iteration, so what we'll do is that we'll give more attention to the incorrected predictions, right? So start with step one. Okay, we are starting with available data. Then in step two, okay, so in next iteration, I want to check or give more attention to the incorrected predictions, what happened in step two. Then in step three, what we'll do is that step two will be repeated until stop condition is satisfied. So there will be, like for example, if we want to take an example, like um, email spam, right? So that one you define some categories that, okay, this wording has to match, then that is kind of a threshold. So if it is matches, then the respective email is put into that spam category, right? Yes or no. So till that point, you just repeat the activities what are needed. Then the third point, the final model combines all the generated models, and we're able to get the best output based on, like weighted majority of the vote which will be given, right? So this what it is about boosting algorithm. Then the core idea in the adaptive boosting is iteratively train a weak learner on a distributed the data set. At each iteration, more attention paid to the incorrectly classified by assigning them a larger weight. So it is very clear that, like larger weight will be assigned for those false predictions. For that, then followed by, we can able to the final classifier is weighted based on the majority of the vote what we will get, where alpha t, you can see here, is a weight, then the model which will be allocated, right? So to find out f of x, you can see here, then it will be going to be weight into the algorithm. So in that one weight which we are giving, and what algorithm which we are applying, right? So the alerts, the predictions or the output which we expect lower, for them we are giving more weightages, right? So that what we are referring as ADA boost. So then gradient boosting. So gradient boosting is overall model which improves sequentially with each iteration. So it means, so it makes sure that if, for example, to get a best output, I will run 5 iterations, right? So iteration, okay, so to start with this iteration, so okay, so what is the output? Then the next iteration will make sure that the previous iteration output should be optimized further, the best improvement. So it means step by step there should be a improvement. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, right? There should be an improvement of the results what we expect. So that what we are saying, current learner better than the before one. So it means this one is better than this. So this one is better than this. This is a series of iterations which will be followed. So here what it exactly tries to do is that optimize the loss function. So it means it's basically boosting as like optimizing the problem. And it has three main components, right? So one is like the loss function which need to be sure that you have an understanding of loss function. So if not, like I request you to quickly you can refer your notes so that you will have a quick understanding, right? So then we should be a weak learner, then the learning should be happening, and the method we should know to optimize the loss function as well. Then what is bagging? So bagging has two components mainly. So this bootstrap sampling and sampling, which I know the method what we are referring here is mainly the randomly the sample the it's a sampling method, right? So in that one what it will do is that randomly select a set of points using replacement method. So it means what I'm trying to say is that there will be multiple iterations, right? So you'll take say like 100 people feedback about Amazon Prime. So what it will do is that to identify the sentiment analysis. So I'm just giving example, like you will bucketize into 10 categories. So it means bucket 1, bucket 2, bucket 3, bucket 4, bucket, like 10. So 1 to 10, 11 to 20, like that we are categorizing, right? So what it will do is that you'll take this chunk, feed into one algorithm. You'll take next chunk, feed into one more algorithm, then check. So it like the iterations will be repeated. Then what it will do is that finally it will be aggregated. We'll draw multiple samples and train on each sample, then aggregation of combine these models for the final prediction. So this what it is bagging will be. So quick pictorial view here you can see what I gave an example. So there is a a training data set, right? So in that one the bootstrap sample, you took a uh, training data, the sample one, and here this complete training data set is divided into three samples: sample one, sample two, sample three, right? So each sample is feeding into each ML algorithm. So algorithm one, algorithm two, algorithm three. Then what it will do is that it will be getting the classifier results. So then it will combine the classifier results, right? Then it will produce the best prediction results what it is expected, right? So this is bagging concept to get the best results which are expected. So let's understand decision tree. So decision tree is like a classification or regression model in form of tree structure. So tree structure means basically what it does is that the data set is breaks into smaller and smaller subsets, while same time and associated to the decision tree is incrementally developed. So it means the final result is a tree with decision nodes and leaf nodes, right? So you define a main tree, then decision tree, decision node. In that one, there will be leaf nodes as well, right? So then it is mainly it uses the entropy. So entropy, we all know is that, like, it is mainly measurement for uncertainty, right? So based on that, the information gained to select the best feature which is needed to to get best result, right? So I think this is the basic concept of decision tree. So quick view about you can see here example about to explain decision tree, a DT concept. So here, DT model, the node which we are referring as Outlook. So there will be like multiple columns in this one, right? So now you need to predict whether can play golf or not, right? So today we can play golf or not, right? So it depends on the climate situations. So here there are three main features. So you can consider them as like branches, and one main decision node, right? So this is mainly about as a key decision factor, and these are the influencers, right? So then what it is basically doing is that Outlook has two more branches, like sunny, oversight, and rainy, right? So these are the two more branches. Then the leaf node represents the classification or the decision, right? So the top node decision in the tree is called root node. The decision tree can be handled both categorical or numerical data. So this is type of a data how you will be feeding, and what kind of a training which you want to expect. So basically you can see here in this example, the outlook, if it is sunny, the temperature is hot, humidity is high, windy is not windy. Then in hot conditions, whether you can play golf, the answer is no. Then the same way, like if it is hot, I know humidity is high and windy as well, then you can't play golf, right? Then you can see here S combinations, the next combination, this how the learning should be happen for that. Then with new data, it is able to get the best predictions from the learnings what it done with the data set, training data set. Then one more example on the decision tree example. Sorry, my apologies. So you can see here the example what I'm referring for the GMAT score depends on that whether student is getting admitted in the university or not, right? So here two more branches are there, and those features can also be considered, and based on that you can able to get the multiple value decision trees, and based on that you can able to decide whether a student can be admitted or not. Then quickly recap about the random forest. It's a classical bagging algorithm. It is kind of ensembles a group of decision which are taken in DT. It is built based on several decision trees, and combination of them together to form more accurate the predictive model, right? So in random forest, only random subset of features are used to build each tree. So trees have different roots, nodes, so on. It's possible. Uh, this is usually results in a better model as the diversity is wider. So for the diverse data, so we can get better results in this model. So I know that we all know random forest and the remaining models very well, and I recommend go through if it is not so clear. But this is just to give a recap. Then we'll go to like gradient boosting. What we are trying to say is that the gradient boosting is mainly used for optimization. Each new model takes step in a direction that minimizes the prediction error. So it means, in other words, so it is every step which is getting the better expectation, which will be having three main components. One, loss function, and it should be weak learner. Then we should know the method to optimize the loss function, right? So uh, gradient boosting, gradient descent algorithm is used for, like, optimization. AdaBoost was extremely extended by Friedman, who called this as a gradient boosting machine. So the idea was mainly to cast boosting as a numerical optimization problem, and mainly used to minimize the loss of the model by adding weak learners, right? So this is one of the key things which are expected. Then the loss function which we are referring, then boosted trees, like weak learner details. Then you can go through quickly a theory about what will be the additive models as well, right? So before I go to the Git details, I wanted to quickly recap, where can we find more details about XGBoost. So you can see here, HTTPS, HTTP XGBoost dot, read the docs.io. So if I click that, so you can able to, get more details. You can see here. So this is the documentation which is already available. I request you all please go through, and you'll get more details. There is clearly documented what exactly the boosted tree is. Then the key parameters what we discussed last 10 to 15 minutes. These all details which are explained theoretically and mathematically as well, right? So you can see here multiple things which are given with pictorial view as well, and mathematical explanations, and what will be the structures, what it is followed. Then there will be things about how can we execute, install XGBoost, so installation guide. Then how can we build examples, then followed by, like, you can able to get start XGBoost with whether if you want to install on the packages what we are referring. So whether it should be, it can be Python package, R package, JVM package, whatever the package which you are favorite you know um, APIs are expected to use. So today I will use you know Python. So Python, in that one you can able to see, right? So I'm now switching to the Jupyter notebook. So you can see here, my projects in that one. I am quickly referring you that to give more details about XGBoost. So in that one, we'll discuss in detail about how this XGBoost can be applied to regression, classification, binary classification, then the time series. You can able to details, then followed by, like, how the features are important, how the feature selection to be made, then how will be the hyperparameter tuning, right? So these are the couple of Jupyter notebooks what we'll go through in the next video, one by one. But today we'll quickly look into the first one. If I click this one, you can able to see that, like, to start with, today, before that, like, if you want to learn more about how to install Jupyter, I'm sure that lot of materials, installation guides, YouTube videos are available. If you are using Windows or iOS, you can expect the related package, and you can install that as well. Whether it can apply, execute through Anaconda. If you don't want to install, then you can able to use a web-based app as well. I'll share you the link, the description, table, and also I will share this Python notebook details, and the data set if it is needed. I can share those details as well, right? So to start with, like if anything data is needed, these all are standard which data is available, and if it is already downloaded here, so if you really interested, then I can share the link as well. Just give a chat or text, so you can able to get the data set as well, right? To start with, I want to start with, how can I install XGBoost notebook in the notebook. So you can see here, I can install, to start with, install XGBoost, the latest version if I want to. Let's see, system already upgraded, already installed, hence, we no need to install XGBoost. So with this command, you can able to install that, okay, and followed by, you can install, you know, um, you can see now XGBoost version as well. Yeah, so while it is executing, I wanted to show you more details about the data set where it is available. You can go to the Kaggle and can able to get the bike sharing, that prediction what will apply, and you can also download by signing here on this data, right? So that what you can see here, I will check that whether it is installed. Yeah, so you can see here XGBoost. So the before error, I wanted to give you that if you directly install, there were no NumPy, pandas, and there was not import is no packages, right? Hence you were giving the, it was giving the error, but now no problem. First we imported the related basic packages, then we installed XGBoost. So here, yes, so in my system desktop, I'm using Windows. So in this one, the latest version which already installed, then we can execute the next codes, which is to start with, right? So this is quick view about how the next videos will be, with respect to the XGBoost. To wind up the discussion, so I wanted to quickly give a recap about the things which are installed, we'll check. Then to know what are the key takeaways if we see that XGBoost. I think there are a couple of key features in XGBoost. I think these are the key things which we should be focusing, and these features which you ask any data scientist, he will definitely agree with these things. So one is about the key feature about regularization, right? So XGBoost uses mainly both L1 L2 regularization to penalize the complex models. This will be helping preventing overfitting. So I know that the definition, if you already know what is overfitting, underfitting as well, right? So just to give a quick introduction, overfitting means the model which is working very well for the training, but for the training data set, the results are not as expected. Hence, this case going to be overfitting. So to prevent that, there will be regularization. With respect to that, L1 is basically to reduce the number of features which are not relevant. So reducing the non-relevant features. So that is L1 regularization. How it will be reduced? So basically what it will do is that, say for example, the results what it will be, if it is uses 12 features. Okay, so in that one, say for example, two features which are not influencing any results, then what it this of the self, or you can say this is one of the key feature, is what it will do is that automatically it will assign weightage to those features as 0. so that it is automatically discarded, and only the relevant features are considered into the training the algorithms. Then the next one is about L2 is mainly instead of removing completely, because our aim is to generalize the model as such, like if it is only yeah, influencing the learnings and the outputs, then it should be a key feature, definitely yes. But if it is not the key feature, then there should be a less weightage and the less priority which to be considered, right? So based on that, the L2 regularization is commonly used rather the L1 regularization. Then how it will be handling the sparse data. So this is inbuilt feature of XGBoost. This one of the key challenge what we face practically during implementing our ML algorithms. So this is one of the thing, like example, sparse is like the data set which has values zeros, missing values, or data qualities are not right, the mismatch are a lot. So these things which are impacting the results by adding noise. So these are considered as a noise, and it is impacting the performance of the algorithms. So XGBoost has internal algorithm that splits data while being aware of the sparsity, right? So this is, I think, one of the key feature which I admire, and this is one of the reason why I always or most of the time my weightage also goes to XGBoost rather other any classification or regression algorithm. So to start, one more feature, like this is one of the key feature that it can do a parallel running by using multiple cores. Then if out of core computing, then it is basically exploits the available disk space. This one of the key feature also needed, because we were in a impression in a real world is that ML algorithms which requires more resources, that can be CPU or disk space or memory. What it will do is that it will exploit the available disk space. Based on that, it will be aligned. Then weighted quantile sketch. So it is useful feature when data is weighted. So that is instance have weights such as when data is class imbalanced. So I think this is one of the key feature. Then cache awareness, it is developed for the optimized hardware usage. So not only just results, but also we need to select algorithms which is not so resources hungry, the algorithm, and it requires, if it is a lot resources, then the run cost will be more, right? Hence we should be aware of the cache awareness. So this one of the key feature of the XGBoost, to give a quick comparison. So you can see here our gradient boosting builds trees one at a time, where each new tree help to correct the errors made by the previous train tree. That's what we discuss, right? So but other side, the random forest, if you apply, it is basically train each tree independently using random sample, right? So this randomness helps to make the model more robust than the single decision tree, and less likely to overfit on the training data, right? So that is one of the key differentiator of random forest. I think this used since couple of years. Still, this one of the best algorithm, or data scientist best friend or recommended algorithm, you can say, this random forest. But XGBoost also, like are derived by optimized and objective function. So basically used to solve almost the objective function that we can write gradient out. So it means including like ranking, or where it's very hard to achieve from random forest, then we'll switch to XGBoost to achieve more details about that, the results for the expected problem solving, right? So I also capture some of the writings or internet learnings which will helping you to get better understanding about gradient boosting and random forest. I do recommend go through this link. I will share this link below, description as well. Then second, about comparing random forest and XGBoost by Ethan on Medium. So this is also one of the key, useful reference you can also get. And followed by to end the video by giving one of the useful link. You can get why this more details about why this XGBoost is special, right? So you can go through these details which are available in KD Nuggets. You can get more details about that and some documents on Medium, and you can also explore on Google to get a couple of blogs related to that, right? So this winds about quick introduction about XGBoost, right? Then what we'll do in the next video, to give about quickly walk through the the Jupyter notebook to start with, like with multiple standard data set. How can we apply XGBoost for regression? If it is expected to be a time series forecast, then how can we apply this XGBoost? Then if it is binary classification, how can we apply? How can we use? What will be the expected results? Then multi-class classification problems, how can be solved? So I think next video is going to be very, very interesting, and you'll get the hands-on. So for this one, of course, so in the video, I will go through execute command by command. But if you want to, require a Python, the Jupyter code notebook as well, then you can, refer, my GitHub account, and you can also clone, the related the Jupyter notebooks as well, right? So this ends, this quick introduction about XGBoost. I hope the discussion was useful, and thank you for listening this video, and bye for now.